Welcome everyone to the City of Indian Rocks Beach regular City Commission meeting, Tuesday, July 9th, 2024. I'm Denise Hausberg, your Mayor Commissioner. So I'd like to call this meeting to order. If we can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Continue standing for 5 seconds of silence. Thank you. Lauren, could you do the roll call, please?
Commissioner Bigelow?
Present.
Commissioner Bond?
Here.
Vice Mayor Commissioner Wilson?
Present.
Commissioner White?
Here.
Mayor Commissioner Hausberg?
Here. Let's move on to presentations. The first report we have is of the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office.
Good evening. I'm Corporal Derwin, the Sheriff's Office. I'm the midnight supervisor over the squad that's working tonight. For this, I have the May 2024 report. Being still so early in the month, we do not have June's. However, for May, the numbers comparatively for April were actually down significantly for crimes. In April, we were running about 25 grand total property and person crimes that were reported. In May, we were down to 9. I have a feeling that's more of the spring break crowd and stuff that was here for that time. Overall, year-to-date, year-for-year, again, we were down last year. May, we were at 85, and this year, May, we are at 67 of those offenses. The majority of this being traffic violations for either driving while suspended or some sort of administrative issuance on that. And then I believe we had 5 driving while under the influence. And that could either be from alcohol and or drugs. As far as the crashes for May of this year, I believe we had 6 crashes total. There was really no consistency there across the board, just throughout the town, so it doesn't appear to be any issues with any of the roadways or anything like that. Through that, we were conducting a lot of traffic enforcement, and we have been actually throughout this whole entire spring. For the month of May, we had 268 traffic citations and warnings issued, 188 of those actually being traffic violations, 47 of those being parking violations, and then boating and other traffic actual citations where somebody received a monetary or criminal penalty. Other than that, there's not been much else really to report. No other really significant events, at least that I was made aware of or that I know from the nights that I do work. I can say that the crosswalks have been pretty heavily enforced. I know that's been a pretty big topic throughout the beaches, and we have been hitting that and really kind of focusing on making sure the pedestrian safety along with these traffic warnings kind of go hand in hand, just to help for the safety of all of us and the visitors.
Okay.
What was the verdict on the deceased body at the beach entrance on 25th last week?
I believe that was just a medical episode that we understand. I don't have the full report on it, being that it's still so recent. I can either get that to you or have that to you soon if you need. Otherwise, I can make sure that it's available and ready for the next meeting.
That's fine, perfect. Thank you.
Does anybody else have questions?
Denise, can I address that?
Yes.
Yeah.
You certainly can.
Unfortunately, it was an overdose suicide, a female from Largo.
Okay, that's a different one than I was thinking of. My apologies.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Next, we have the report of the Pinellas Suncoast Fire and Rescue District.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jeffrey Davidson, your fire chief, Pinellas Suncoast Fire and Rescue District. For giving you the monthly report for the month of June into Indian Rocks Beach, there were 52 emergency calls. 12 were fire related, included fire alarm, a structured fire, a fuel spill, electrical hazards, and elevator emergencies. And 40 calls for EMS handled by Pinellas Suncoast, which included motor vehicle crashes, water rescues, heat exposures, seizures, and cardiac related calls. Been telling you about the purchased land that we've acquired in the northern end of Indian Rocks Beach, and that should be finalized in the next few weeks. We'll keep you updated on that. And we're currently working with the county, trying to get them to be able to fund us additional personnel through the EMS mill that everybody pays, so that we can put that unit in service before the station is built. We're working on some temporary locations, but we want to be able to staff that unit to have it on the northern end sooner than the next year and a half, 2 years when the station's done. So we're currently working on that. I'm going to reach out to some of you for some support on that, and keep you updated. But we want to have the best response times to all our citizens and residents and visitors here, and it's imperative that we keep those to the response times to a minimum. There were no significant 4th of July events, luckily, and that's all we have for the month of June. Any questions for me?
Anybody have any questions?
All right.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you all very much.
Next is the presentation from Jeff Fuller regarding flood preparation.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, Jan. Jan saw me at the Big C, invited me up here. I appreciate it. Lauren, thanks for coordinating. I am here because of one reason. I got no flood water in my home last fall. It's the only reason I'm here. My neighbors lost their washers, their dryers, their cars, their refrigerators. People across our town, by the way, I live in Washington Beach. Everybody lost quite a bit with the 2 floods last year. After Ada, I said I'm never going to flood again, within reason, of course, but I have not flooded since. And we've developed a lot of techniques, ideas, where we do not flood. And I apologize for my back. Normally I'm talking to you folks. But the one thing I want to press, you can do this. You can prevent flood water from coming in your home. And you don't have to spend $30,000 to do it. A lot of the ideas we have, and I'll show you a few in a minute, are easy. They're easy to do. I've demonstrated how to do this with 75-year-old women, and once they're done, they go, I can do this. And that's what I want to hear. So I'm going to show you a few things that I brought. Number one, this caulk. It's called Seal and Peel. It's made by DEP. I highly suggest everybody have at least a case in your house. If not 2 or 3. I have 54 tubes, which is 4.5 cases. This stuff is invaluable. It goes on, you put it on thick like my thumb, and it comes off like this in one big piece. Stretchy, put it on, nobody cares what it looks like because you're gonna throw it away. This stuff is a game changer. It changed the way we flood protect. It used to be duct tape, no more duct tape. No more paint coming off, no more residue left on anything. This stuff comes off clean as a whistle. By the way, this, when you goop it over a hinge, this is a hinge. You covered the entire hinge, the bottom hinge, and when you come back to your house, if you evacuate, or once a day later, you just peel it off, it comes off in one big piece. By the way, this is an electric caulk gun. Use this to put that on. It's thick, and you're going to need this because my house takes 12 to 15 tubes, and you're not gonna go like this for 12 to 15 tubes,
Right.
or even 5. The other thing that we found, and if I went around your city, your town, dryer vents. A lot of them are this far off the ground. They're metal, the flaps are rusted open, and so essentially, a lot of your residents have a 4-inch hose on the side of their house going right in. I was down in Shore Acres over the weekend. There were a couple houses where they didn't even have a dryer vent on the outside of the house. So without this, the water's just rushing into your home. With this, you can caulk around the edges and it becomes waterproof in 5 minutes. We're gonna wander over here for a second. One of the things that we use, which has really changed how we do sliding doors, this is an old piece. This is vinyl PVC. It's highly flexible. I mean, this stuff flexes. But what we do is we cut it and we snap it into the tracks of a slider. And once you snap it into a track, you can either put duct tape down the seam, which is the only place we put duct tape. You caulk the edges, and you can waterproof your slider within a matter of minutes, as opposed to duct taping the whole thing up. This stuff works great. Use this with this on the edges, and it becomes a watertight barrier within minutes. So I highly suggest, by the way, you buy this in Home Depot. It's Seminole, I don't know where it is here in Largo, but in Seminole, it's aisle 18. It's in the lumber aisle, the plywood section. This caulk, about the only place you can really buy it in bulk is at an Ace Hardware. Ace Hardware on Seminole Boulevard in Largo. Brian there has been very good. I've been working with him for over a year. He's been very good at bringing it in. I know he has 600 on back order, actually probably 820 on back order. Jen found out today it's hard to get.
Yep.
Buy it now, store it in your house, in a closet, do not put it in the garage. DAP is having a hard time realizing they have a big market for this stuff, whether it be from Dallas or from Texas to the Mississippi, all the way around the Gulf Coast. This stuff works great for waterproofing. We are doing a seminar, Indian Shores. It's a full-blown seminar. We go through sewer lines, we go through dryer vents, we go through openings, we go through just about any place that the water can get into your home. That's July 22nd at 6:30 on the 4th floor at the Municipal Center down in Indian Shores. So I'm hoping that you folks can advertise it and let your residents know. But we can keep the floodwaters, you know, outside of a Cat 3 or 4.
What are you calling it?
What's that?
What are you calling the presentation?
It's just a flood seminar, a flood protection seminar.
Okay.
We've done it. We did one in Reddington Beach. We had 110 people, turned away 50. We had one in Madeira Beach, 175 people, turned away about 50. We did one in Shore Acres, had 140 people there. I've walked around close to 200 homes now, just giving individual advice as to what to do. A lot of people are going to benefit from what we're doing. It should help a fair amount of people. And these are simple do-it-yourself solutions. We also have the commercial stuff where if you want to spend $8,000 to do your garage door, you can write the check. I don't advise it because there's other things we can do, but those commercial products are there as well.
Website.
We have a website. It is floodprep, P-R-E-P, .weebly, so floodprep.weebly.com, W-E-E-B-L-Y. We have an email account where you can email us questions and we'll answer them. which is currently up to date. We have a Facebook page on there. If you go to our website, you can see everything. And by the way, this is a completely, Bob and I set out a couple months ago, 6-7 months ago, to do this as a community service. We have no financial interest in anything. We don't own stock in a company. We have no benefit whatsoever. It costs us money to do it, but our ideas work. And I got prodded into it by people that Lauren knows. And my arm was twisted behind my back because I didn't flood and everybody else did. So here I am. So please stop by our seminar in Indian Shores.
I'd love to, thank you.
Okay.
Jeff, I think it's a great idea. Having the construction background, I know about that product and what it does, so I always use that at my business on Indian Rocks Beach.
The seal and peel?
Yep.
Really?
Every time.
Not many
so-
people know about it.
Yep, I do know about it and I use it. It's a great idea and it's very helpful.
Yep.
Have you thought of running for city commissioner down there?
Want to know how many people asked him that?
Anywhere from probably 30 to 70 people have asked me that question. I won't offend Dave Will by saying a lot of them have asked me to run for mayor. But no, I can do more good behind the scenes than I can up front. So I'll do this stuff behind and hopefully help a lot of people.
Well, we'll definitely get the word out, and this was nice to whet the appetite so those people who are here can also help us get that word out.
Right. No, please do.
We'll do it.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Now we're moving on to the public comments. 3-minute time limit per speaker. Any member of the audience may come forward, give their name and address, and state any comment or concern that they have regarding any city matter that the commission has control, excluding agenda items. All statements made to the city commission shall be made to the city commission as a whole, not directed to any individual city commission member. And no personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks shall be permitted. No speaker shall be interrupted, and no debate shall occur between the speaker and the city commission. Who would like to speak tonight? Hi, good evening.
Good evening. Adrian Doss's 2008 Gulf Boulevard. I wanted to readdress the beach access parking. I know we had the incident last week, unfortunately, but it's now starting to be a reoccurring situation. May 27th, I had to call Pinellas County Sheriff because I had 2 ladies and a dog living out of their vehicle on 21st Street beach access. Again, between the heat and the trash, it was 5 days, 4 nights that they spent on Memorial Day weekend, and the sheriffs literally had to call the tow truck to remove them because their car was broken down and they were camping out the parking lot. And there was a report filed with this. The other problem we're having is campers camping overnight, running their generators. They're running the generators during the day and at night. So we're dealing with more campers than normal. I mean, originally I remember about 2 years ago we had no overnight parking signs between 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. I don't know where they disappeared to, but I think we need to readdress these situations, just evidence of the incidents and events that have taken place historically. So I'm hoping we can talk about that at some date. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak this evening?
At least she's not that short. So, Don House, 21 on Fort Beach Trail. So, I came here, last meeting I came here, and I said something about this being the poorest city commission we've ever had, mainly because nobody owns any property on the beach. or on the intracoastal, or in the business triangle. And it presents some issues that I think are pretty important. I don't know that anybody up here on the commission would hire the janitor of the Dollar General to take care of their retirement account. If you did, you'd be pretty stupid, okay? And this is part of what happens without having the wisdom of those of us that have some of the issues that y'all don't have. Over the past 8 years or so, I've had at least 6 or 8 past and present commissioners say, hey, let's get together and talk about what's going on on your particular issues. I would now like to list every commissioner that I've met with. Did I go too fast? Not one commissioner has ever sat down and talked about this stuff. And this is kind of, I understand that y'all have the cult that y'all deal with and all that, but there are other contrarian views, and those of us that have contrarian views have been treated like the player. I don't have to repeat it, but a past commissioner, past president of ATK called me an SFA. If you want to know what it is, I'll repeat it after the meeting. It's repulsive. But I bring this up because those of us that came up here and talked about how to address something simple like the sand, that's simple, okay, and what we should do about it. Has anybody on the commission heard about the Chevron ruling? Yes, no, okay, whatever. And it was from the Supreme Court. It wasn't as sexy as Trump or abortion, but it definitely affects us, all right? Those of us that were trying to argue about how to approach the nourishment on the beach were pretty much vindicated by what the Chevron ruling is. I'm not here to say, I told you so, but what it does mean is there are other things that are within the nuance of that Chevron ruling that will affect this city and our county, because our county said that if we proceed along with the county nourishing the beach, the county will be bankrupt within 3 or 4 nourishments. That was at the meeting that the county put forward all their projections. None of y'all were there. I was there. So you can call me a liar or whatever, but that's what they said. So anyway.
Wrap it up, John.
I am. I'm wrapping it up. So just please try to open up your mind and listen to some people that are contrarian. They might know something. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Would anyone else like to speak this evening? We're closing the public comment. Next, I would like to call for reports of the city manager.
Thank you. The city attorney was trying to make it back from his vacation and his son time happens. He had some delays in the airport, but so we get to the consent agenda. I've offered to read the consent agenda in lieu of Randy not being here. Just have a few items I'd like to go over. Yesterday, the city launched the new website for the city, and the website includes a AI function, so you can, at the top of the website, you can type in questions and it'll link to information on the website. Over the next few days, we'll continue to tweak that, make adjustments to get things the way we need it. But I really want to take a minute and thank Denise Hausberg for literally the hundreds of hours she spent working with our team here at City Hall and our website company to make this happen. So I encourage the public to go test out the new website, and if you see things on there, and last night I got on my phone and found a few things that we need to move around and change. We'd encourage everybody to do that. But I really want to thank you, Denise, for Denise is the one that brought this up during the budget process last year, and I think the city will be better for it. So just the format, just when you bring it up on your phone is awesome, and I think it just presents a great image for the city. So we'll continue to tweak that as we go. I want to thank IRB Home. They've agreed to sponsor our 5th sculpture that we're putting out, the sculptures throughout the city and primarily on Gap Boulevard. It'll be located near the Walk development, or 26th Avenue, and it's a $7,000 sponsorship by the IRB Home. A2K has agreed to sponsor $15,000 worth of landscaping and enhancements projects throughout the city, including a number of sites on Gap Boulevard. And also, we're going to have to replace there was 2 large palm trees at the intersection of 5th and Gulf, and they've agreed to pay for those 2 palms. The 4th of July went off pretty well. As usual, we had extra deputies from the Sheriff's Office, and the Pinellas Suncoast Fire Rescue District was out. There was a large quantity of fireworks that were seized and disposed of. I want to thank Mr. Fuller for being here tonight and reminding the public of the practical things that we can do to protect property, and to remind the public that we are in the middle of hurricane season, or the early beginning of hurricane season. In fact, the folks that make predictions about the hurricane season, they've upped today the projected number of hurricanes. So property owners should prepare and take their own protective measures, not wait on anybody else to do that. And for the hurricane season, I'm going to leave the tape on the wall on either side of the auditorium, and as a reminder, that was the height of the storm surge, and the hurricane down in Fort Myers Beach. So do all the good things that Mr. Fuller says, but when a major hurricane comes, you need to leave, because we have this amount of water in IRB, nobody's coming to get you if that happens. So just a reminder. The proposed 24-25 budget's available on the city's website, where we'll wrap up individual meetings with commissioners tomorrow. The schedule after that is next Tuesday at 4 o'clock. There's a budget work session here in the auditorium, and then a meeting at 6 p.m. where the commission will set the tentative mill rate. The proposed budget is to keep the current mill rate of 1.73 at the current rate. And then the following, in September, will be the last 2 public hearings on the budget. The first one's on September the 4th, and the second one's on September the 18th. And both of those start at 6 p.m. At the August City Commission meeting, included on that agenda a work session item to discuss beach parking, and specifically the consideration by the commission to institute paid parking. And at that same time, we can have a discussion about the issue that was brought up tonight about overnight parking and how we deal with that. So we'd encourage everybody to participate in that. In the August City Commission packet, there'll be a lot of good up-to-date information on parking spaces and where they're located, and some other information. And also, this obviously is not the first time we've had discussions about parking in IRB. So there'll be copies of minutes, I believe, from 2014 and 2017, and take the time to read those, because it'll give you a good background of the conversations and people's opinions before about that. And the last thing I had, I really want to run this by the commission, and just, don't really need a vote, just a, consensus that you all are okay with me pursuing this. We had a couple meetings back, we had Ford Pinellas that came in and made a presentation about mixed use. Whit Blanton and I continue to talk, and what I'd like to do is start that process where his staff would work with Hetty Harmon, our planner, and over a period of time they would develop a potential amendment to the land development code that we would bring to the commission first, go over the draft of the amendment, and if you like it, fine. If you like it like it is, fine. If not, we can talk about making changes. And then if you want to move it forward, then it would be by consensus of the commission, it would go to the P&C, and then the P&C would have their meetings, discuss it, kick it around, and they would come back to the commission in the form of an ordinance. But really all I want to just give the nod from y'all tonight is the expense of getting assistance from Fort Pinellas can be managed through the current planning budget we have. And there may be some overlap in the new budget depending on how long this takes. I don't think it's going to take that long. But I'd like to, instead of waiting, I'd like to go ahead and get the wheels turning. So I'm just really, I guess I'm asking if anybody objects to me moving forward with working on developing a draft that we can bring back to the commission at a future date.
Let's do it.
I have no objection.
No objection for me, within reason.
Let's do it.
Good. And that's all I have. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have about what's going on or anything with me. Maybe not anything with me, but basically.
Well, I guess, where are we at on the biggest veto that hit the short-term rental in Tallahassee? Are we?
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad you brought that up. Number one, you know, the thousands of people throughout the state of Florida that emailed the governor, called the governor, sent a text to the governor, whatever the format was. I hope that some percentage of those people now will do the same thing and thank him for vetoing the ordinance. And that's a tribute. A lot of the success of getting the veto is based on average citizens, other elected officials, and groups like the Florida League of Cities. Florida League of Cities did a lot of lobbying for us, and a lot of bigger cities that had lobbyists. You know, still, we don't need lobbyists. Did a lot of work to get this vetoed. But what will happen next is, without going into the legal side of this too much, is that Randy will be requesting a meeting of the commission to talk about the pending litigation that we have and where we go with the steps that may be proposed to resolve it. So over the next week or so, you can look for some communication, probably through Lauren, to look at a date, hopefully sometime in August, where we can have a separate meeting to talk about how those issues might be resolved. So just look for that communication to be coming from Lauren or Randy, and I think hopefully the litigation that we're dealing with then can be resolved. But it will take some work and some action by the commission to do that. The other part of the Senate Bill 280 being vetoed is that, you know, it's just the veto. I've had the opportunity to talk to the connections, the folks that I've talked to in Tallahassee, and unfortunately the lobbyists that lobby for things like Senate Bill 280 are not going to go away. You know, I got here in 2013, and we've either gone to Tallahassee every year or we've been involved frequently in emails and conversations and phone calls. So this is going to be a continual thing because there's too much money involved in that industry for them just to give up on not trying to, for the state not to pass the bill. So good news, congratulations to everybody. Work with the commission to try to resolve litigation that we have, and then like we've done every year for over a decade, we'll just continue to fight as long as we have to try to fend this off. But that's kind of all it is.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
No.
No.
Okay, well then we'll move on to the reports of the city commission. Jude, do you have anything for us tonight?
Not a thing.
Mr. Bigelow?
I do not tonight.
Mrs. Wilson?
Well, we had a couple of really interesting and great things happen in the last month. The Rotary put on the Flag Day event, which was very nice. It ended up being over here because of weather reports. So that was a nice event. IRB Homes Last Mingle was at Chicago Jacks, and they've added a really nice element to, and I think they plan to do this going forth, is having people bring donations for the food pantry at each of those. So that was really nice. And A2K dedicated the bench a couple of Fridays ago for cookie, and it's over in the Chickasee Park. So have to stop by and look at that. That's what I got. And again, thanks, Jeff. One of the best Big C meetings I've attended was May. And part of that was because I came back with a whole nice little folder that is keeping my husband very busy. And so I can't recommend that enough. So I'm really excited that there's going to be the full seminar that we're going to be able to make sure that our people are aware of and that they can go. That's it.
Thank you. Hope, do you have anything for us tonight?
I don't really, I'm with the guys today, I don't really have too much except for to thank the city for their continued support and everybody in the community, so I do appreciate that, but I don't really have much to report on today.
Well, the one thing I do want to address that I've been laboring over for the last 2 weeks is every time I go on Facebook and I have to hear about how Jackson Tenney is incensed that we want him to be a licensed permitted business with insurance to teach young children how to skimboard. And I've really been blown away by how many daggers and arrows have been thrown at the commission. Like, we just made this up. We haven't been doing this all along for years and years and years. Is requiring businesses that want to operate here, whether they want to use our parks or our beaches, that they're licensed and insured. And I was just really shocked that how that dialogue keeps going on and on and on. And I ran into Jackson this morning at the breakfast place, but he shot out the door faster than he could have a conversation with me. So I think he's still continuing to do the work of teaching kids how to use skimboards, but I think, is he fully legal now?
Yeah, I can provide an update. And let me just say, for the benefit of the commission and the benefit of the public, when we became aware that he was going to do the skim group again, but do it in a business way, as in charging, we contacted he and the skateboard business 3 weeks before they ever started. He said, hey, just out of courtesy, you need to come into City Hall, we'll email it to you, there's a one-page form you need to fill out, there's a $100 fee, and there's the insurance requirements. No response, no feedback. One of our code enforcement people actually had 2 conversations with him, and basically, oh yeah, walk him by City Hall and take care of that. And then there was another interaction with another family member, and it was basically, go pound sand, we don't need it, not going to get it, we'll just call the TV stations. So this went on, of course there was some TV reports about it. We still have communications through the skateboard shop about it. And ultimately, last week, the skateboard business came into City Hall, filled out the form, secured an insurance policy, paid their $100, and they got the license. So that was one of the things that bothered me about it, was that, and even one of the news stories, it was for the children, and we went above and beyond to reach out well before to say, hey, here's the process, come in, take care of this, and everything will be good. But anyway, they are licensed to operate through the summer. And hopefully going forward in future years, instead of turning it into a media production, they can come out and fill out the one-page form and pay the $100 fee and provide insurance like other. We have a total of, I think, 7 different groups now that have licenses for commercial activity on the beach, from yoga to one guy does art on the beach, and now we have the skimboard. It's a very simple process, and it was unfortunate that it was blown into something that didn't need to be blown into. But unfortunately, there's people that in the world that we live in now that make their money off the internet, and the more views they get, the more money they make, and that's probably what's behind part of this is. But they are in compliance now.
Okay, great. Well, that's all I had in my statement. And we will move on to do we have no additions or deletions, Lauren? No. Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Greg, would you read, please?
Sure. A, approval of the June 4th 2024 regular city commission meeting minutes. B, authorizing the city manager to sign a one-year agreement to renew the group health insurance with Public Risk Management, PRM, Group Health Trust for 24-25. C, authorizing the city manager to dispose of surplus property / equipment which has become unnecessary or unfit for city use. D, authorize the mayor commissioner to sign a letter for the distribution of the funds from the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant countywide funds for FY 24-25. That is the reading of the consent agenda.
Thank you. Could I have a motion, please?
I have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. And we have no public hearings tonight, no other legislative matters, no work session, no other business.
Mayor, one thing, if I can, I apologize, I
Yeah.
missed one thing. You know, several months ago, I mentioned that from meeting to meeting, we have different staff people that would sit in on a meeting so they can get a sense of agendas and commissions and what's going on. And Gorana is one of our newer employees. She's our revenue officer. She works for Dan, and she's one of the staff that's heavily involved, particularly in vacation rental applications, the whole business license process. And now that 280's been vetoed, she's about to get a lot busier. So I didn't want to introduce Gorana. I told her I was going to ask her to get up and make a speech, but she rejected that idea, so she's just here to serve. So I apologize that I forgot earlier.
And then are those registrations coming in since the veto?
We're going to have to do a little prodding to
Okay.
get the, but we'll pick up on that. We'll take care of that.
All right then, so if no one has anything else to add, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you for coming this evening.
Really second